Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Bill Bing, August the 7th, 2019. I'm here with my friend Dusty. Hi, Dusty.
Hi, Bill. How's it
Nice
going?
to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
So, this is my opportunity to introduce Dusty McKinney to so many of the people that are on my Bill Bing's Trumpet Talk. By the way, Bill Bing's Trumpet Talk has over 1,000 followers and over 250,000 hits right now. So I greatly appreciate everybody that's taken the time to check these out. So today I wanted to talk to Dusty because Dusty is one of these great young trumpet players who's worked his way up from really just the the bottom of the ladder to now where he's doing great work with some great players in some great studio situations as well as live situations. And so I'd like Dusty to tell a little bit about his background, if you would. Maybe where you're from and something about your trumpet background.
Sure. Well, I grew up in Des Moines, Iowa, and I just studied privately and played in a very good, band in high school. And I went on to study at DePaul University for a few years before I moved to Los Angeles. And then from when I got to Los Angeles, you were probably one of the main reasons I moved out here.
Because Dusty and I have known each other for a long time because my wife and Dusty's mother are cousins, I think.
That's right. First cousins.
Right, so we've known each other for quite a while.
So, so moving out here and then, hearing about your background and studying with Jimmy Stamp and, also Roy Poper, all these other people, John Lewis, Malcolm McNabb, who studied with Jimmy Stamp. That sort of continued my education out here in Los Angeles. So it's just been, working at, getting a little bit better every day.
So you mentioned all these players and teachers and Jimmy Stamp. And do you use the Stamp routine as part of your daily routine, or has that developed into different kinds of routines, or how have you adapted that?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot of things that I use every day. It's not necessarily the same thing every day, but there's definitely aspects and things that he teaches that I apply to what I do.
Could you be more specific?
Sure. Well, I mean, I do a lot of mouthpiece buzzing. I'll do his scale studies, his trill studies.
What do you think it is about mouthpiece buzzing that's helpful? There's some that's arguable, right? There's some people think you shouldn't buzz, some people should buzz. So I'm of the belief that you should try it, and if it helps, do it. And if it doesn't, don't. But
absolutely.
What have you found helpful about it?
I found that it just gets me started. If I can.
How would you start the day?
Sure.
Great. So, tell us what you're doing right there.
To me, I'm just putting my lips together, pushing the air through, but not forcing anything. And it's just getting, I want to have a close vibration going on, and if that's sort of the start of everything. If I can get that going, then everything else.
When you say that's the start of everything, can you explain that? Because to many people, it's a buzz, and you're starting the note with a breath, but how does that connect to the rest of your playing?
Well, if I do that, the same thing into my trumpet, it's going to sound a lot better than forcing the note through. And so if we can start that way to have a clear, resonant, centered sound, just like what he taught, what you taught, that will make everything else work. And you go from center to center.
You're talking about the center of the sound now.
Center of the sound. Yeah.
So there's another term.
The buzzing helps you find the center.
Okay. What is the center of the sound?
Well, it's right where everything is balanced. I think it's where we get the most overtones, and the pitch is right there.
That's what I think of too. I think of the center of the sound being that place where the air goes through the easiest. It's most efficient.
Yeah.
And so it sounds to me like I often use the term, I think I got it from Roy Poper, as a point of reference. It's a way for us to each person might have a different point of reference where they like to start the day. But for me, I like to do the same thing. I kind of like to just start with a breath attack.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to have a place where every day you go to this place, and you by doing that little bit, you can tell how your chops are. It's like a little diagnostic test. Gatala used to say he'd have to start every day building the foundation of the house of playing. You know, you couldn't really start with the roof; you had to start with the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what we're doing. So, in your teaching, and I encourage everybody to contact Dusty for teaching, for lessons. He teaches at a couple of universities out here now, but I hope you would consider doing a Skype lesson or something like that.
Absolutely, I do those.
And,
sure.
And what is your email address?
You can contact me at dustinmckinney@mac.com.
DUSTY.
DUSTIN.
Dustin
McKinney. McKinney @mac.com. Yeah.
Cool. And you also have a wedge page. Speaking of the wedge breath, no, the web page is
DustinMcKinney.com.
DustinMcKinney.com. Okay.
Or
cool.
social media or anything like that.
Great.
Shouldn't be too hard to find me.
And that's the beauty of the internet, isn't it? You can take lessons with people like Dusty or just so many great players all over the world. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what you're doing contemporaneously. What are some of the things that you enjoy being a freelance player? Because it's hard to be a freelance player in LA and make a living. Let's admit it. You know, there's so many great players. What is it that, you know, because you started off as so many trumpet players did here in LA, not making your living as a trumpet player.
No.
You came to LA wanting to play trumpet, but what did you end up doing?
I think I worked at Starbucks for about a year and a half.
So Starbucks.
So that was great.
And Roy Poper was a dispatcher for AAA when he was in college. I think John Lewis through newspapers, right?
I think so.
And for me, I would drive. I was lucky enough to get a few teaching gigs early on, but I would drive from my house to San Fernando Valley, which took about 45 minutes, to this music store to have maybe one or two students who paid me maybe $20 for each half-hour lesson, and half of the time they didn't show up. But I think the important thing is just to get out and do something, you know, so that you're not staying at home, and that hopefully you can find a job where there's still time to practice, so you make time to practice.
You make time to practice, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I would get up, do like the opening shift at Starbucks at 4 or 5 in the morning, and then come home and practice, sleep a little bit. Then I think I had a couple of private students at that time, and then you know, if I was lucky enough to have work that night, I'd do that, and then back up at 4 the next day. So it was good.
It was fun having Dusty work at Starbucks. I got a good deal.
You got a very good deal. Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
And also the stories he would tell about one guy that would come in every morning and get 4 shots of or more of espresso.
Easy. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Those were probably trumpet players just coming in from their midnight gig.
That's right.
So now tell us, just give us a roundabout perspective of what a trumpet player such as yourself might be doing in the course of a week or two for gigging, because I know you came to LA because one of the things you told me is that you like the variety of things that you were able to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
I mean, you know, my practicing I try to keep in shape for the unexpected, really, and that could be you know, whether that's a recording session or a last minute call for a concert or something. That's why, you do practice literature and everything, but you also have to practice to just keep yourself in shape for whatever is going to happen. So it could be a symphony call. I remember the first time I played with the LA Phil, I got the call that morning because somebody was sick.
Really?
Yeah. And then you know, recording sessions, you usually don't know what you're going to be playing. Fortunately, for a lot of symphonies, like I play in the Santa Barbara Symphony, I know what that's going to be, so I can be as prepared.
And who's the other trumpet player in that orchestra?
The other trumpets are John Lewis and Miles McAllister.
Wonderful.
Both wonderful
Great
players. Yeah,
great
yeah.
players.
We've
Wow,
got
what
a
a
great
great
section out there. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So I really enjoyed playing with those guys.
Yeah.
So and then you could play. You know, there's shows,
Mm-hmm.
there's teaching,
Mm-hmm.
there's just all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really preparing and practicing for the unexpected.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I think that's very true. The other thing that I think that you're so good at is this chameleon-like quality, where you're sitting with different players and you can adjust to their sounds. Right, that's something that we have to do here, because you don't always play first trumpet. You could be the best trumpet player. Well, there are certain people in town that only play first trumpet, but for the most part, everybody's happy playing a different part, you know, helping each other out.
Mm-hmm.
So when you find you play in a section, the guys are trying to help each other out, right? It's not a competitive thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's about the job,
Mhm.
and it's about the music. And so, you know, when I show up to work, I want the best possible product.
Mhm.
You know, whatever that can be. And so whatever I need to do, that's what I do.
Great.
So
Great.
that's very important. I
Right.
mean, you know, we know that there's not, you know, maybe as much work as there used to be, or you know, whatever. But when it comes time to showing up for work, it's really important that, you know, we are doing our very, very best,
Right.
and supporting each other.
That's one thing I actually like. I hadn't thought about it, but I like about the studios. Although I didn't do much studio work, when I did do studio work, you had the feeling that people were just trying to get the job done. They'd do it the best they could. They weren't out to get each other or try to prove how
No.
much better they were than somebody else. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I think it is a very collegial kind of a group.
Or any job. I mean,
Right.
it could be a,
Mhm.
a symphony job,
Right.
live stuff. You know,
Right.
I mean, everybody just wants the best
Right.
product out there.
Right.
And so, you know, you
Right.
want to, and you know, whether you're playing first trumpet or second trumpet, or
Mhm.
you know, third trumpet, those all have their challenges.
Mhm.
And so, I
Right.
think everybody, there's respect shown for
Right.
each one of those chairs,
Right.
and what that entails. So.
Right. I think that's really important in any job. You know, going to work, getting there on time, that's pretty important. Being able to play well, that's really important. But being able to get along and help each other out, that's the third ingredient that has to
Yep.
be there if you want to get called back. All right, Dusty, thank you so much. Look for Dusty. One of the reasons I asked him to be on my video is because I'm hoping he will do the same thing. So email Dusty and tell him you'd like to see more of Dusty McKinney's trumpet tips. Okay, that's it. Thanks, Dusty.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks for having
It
me.
was fun.